Levassiur from Florida Southern College, cross-country head coach. We appreciate you taking the time to join us.
Thank you.
Just wrapped up a great season, huh?
Yeah, I had a very successful cross-country season last year. Guys were able to work real hard. We kind of, battled. We had a real tough battle with Embry-Riddle, who had won the previous 3 conference titles in a row. First time, it was the first time last year, the first time in my coaching time at Florida Southern that we had beaten Embry-Riddle, just beat them just overall. So that was great. Great to get a conference title, especially at Holloway, being so close. Mm-hmm. And then, going to regionals and getting a runner-up and punching our ticket to nationals was kind of unexpected. I don't think anybody really expected that. So.
Nice.
Yeah.
So we were talking a little bit beforehand about the recruiting and how you look for a certain special athlete for Florida Southern. It's a sport that requires a special athlete because whereas it's not, it's really a sort of a self-discipline
for sure.
as well. So tell us about that.
Well, I mean, collegiate cross country and track, I think the thing that some people don't think about is that you're always in season because you go from cross country indoor to outdoor. So your first meet is at the end of August. You go until Thanksgiving. Indoor season starts in early December, ends in March. March starts outdoor track, ends in May. You have the summer to train. It's like a year-round lifestyle type of thing. So, and then the other thing about collegiate cross-country and track is that during the summertime they go back home, so you lose that infrastructure. You lose your high school teammates to train with. So you got to have guys that really, really want to live the lifestyle. It's a sport that doesn't require any equipment really, aside from shoes, some fancy shoes. But comparatively, I think to other sports, you can do it anywhere. You don't, and so it does allow guys to get a lot better. It allows guys to really dedicate themselves. And at Florida Southern, we're really committed to the student part of the student-athlete balance. I recruit Florida guys that get bright futures. That's what the majority of my team is made up of. And, it's allowed us to be successful competitive-wise, but it's also allowed us to be successful academically. We've had one of the best team GPAs in all of Division II for men's sports. My wife is the women's coach there, and she always jokes, we were #1 in cross-country last year with the 3.68, and her team was number 8 for the women, and they were at 3.78 or something like that, so there's a pink tax on GPA or something like that for that, so we were able to get that. But so we really recruit that way, and we really like, both my wife and I really like developing athletes. There are some people that would take the way that our sport, the way that we're funded at Florida Southern, and they would just take and invest that in 2 or 3 international kids or out-of-state kids or people who are at Division II. The age rules are a little bit more fluid. Mm-hmm. So, like, for instance, the guy that won our conference last year was the 31-year-old from Germany, who had run 13:50 something when he was 24 before he ever got to Mississippi College where he was at. And, he was 30 seconds better than my 19-year-old from Zephyr Hills, who a couple of years ago was running 16:15 or something like that. So it's cool that in this sport you can kind of have that progress and develop it that way. That's what I enjoy.
Yeah, well, and you talked about the training aspect of it and being a lifestyle, and curious about that, the practice part of it. Well, and you said there is no off season really, but when you're in season, how often or how many miles or how often are they running, and how far are they running each day to prepare for each meet?
Yeah, I mean that really depends on the athlete, and when you think about cross country, you also think about what they're going to do in track. So some people are more 1500 oriented type of thing, and some are more like 5K, 10K. We tend to focus on the 5K, 10K element of the thing. So the majority of my guys will run anywhere between 60 and 80 miles a week, running 7 days a week in that. But I do have some, like our number 3 guy last year had a lot of Achilles injuries, and so he was. I think a lot of people maybe that watch the show might know Parker Valby from UF, the UF standout runners and Olympian, and she famously runs 3 days a week and cross trains, gets on an elliptical trainer essentially for 10, 12, 13, 14 hours a week and grinds away that way. So we can make it work a lot of ways, but it's a 7 day a week. I guess comparatively though, like when I look at softball athletes or lacrosse athletes, they practice far more time-wise in a week than we do. Because you go for your 8, 9, 10-mile run, that's 70 minutes. You stretch, you do some other stuff, and you're done in 90 minutes or so. Right? I see softball, they're out there for 2.5 hours. So in a lot of ways, it's like our athletes practice a lot and they practice frequently, but they also don't practice for insane lengths of time.
Yeah, when you said 68 miles a week, that was the sound everybody heard was Jack and I crossing off cross country as an option for us
Done.
In the future. But no, it's
that's pretty low for collegiate. That's pretty low for collegiate athletes. So we try to be real smart about it. We use a lot of people do a build where it's like they build their summer mileage up to 70, 80, 90 miles a week, and then they go gradually down from there. And we take a different approach. We run more like 30, 40 to start the summer, and they get up to like 60 or so when they get back, and then we build throughout the season. So their highest mileage week is closer to when our peak race is. And that's,
so like marathon training. So they sort of build up the sort of and then so you're not actually running the marathon every week because that'll take too much out of you, but you're building up to get to that spot.
Yeah, and there's a variable of the Florida heat, which is another reason to go back to your first questions, why so many of our kids are from Florida. It is a different animal to run here in August and September and October, and it requires an athlete to feel uncomfortable. And both my wife and I came from Colorado at 7,500 feet altitude. It's similar there. You can't run as fast. It's like a similar. It feels a lot better to run up there because you're not losing half your body weight, sweating it out, in your run. But it's similar in terms of how you have to adjust training and paces.
So you'd mentioned the runner from Zephyr Hills. Of course, one good hill right there between Dade City and Zephyr Hills.
Yes.
Talk about the topography in the area here, maybe Holloway Park in particular. Any sort of advantage there where you guys get to train with some actual elevation most folks in the state don't?
Yeah, I mean, I guess I'm from California originally, Colorado, and for most of my adult life, and the hills you guys have here are not really hills from what I would have known. But coming into Florida, there is some variability, some topography. We can get off on the hills right by Florida Southern. We do hill repeats up there, and that's a big benefit to us. I think the thing about the understated element of being in Polk County here is the access to soft surfaces. So, utilizing Circle B, Panther Point, Lois Hart Park, the 7 wetlands area out there, and having access to soft surfaces is important. And specifically when it gets to cross country, the thing that makes Holloway Park so hard is it's hot, it's humid, it's soggy. The surface is not very fast. It's not like a golf course. A lot of times when people run cross country in the rest of the country, they're running on this like perfectly manicured lawn essentially. And if you've been to Holloway, it's anything but that perfect surface, and it requires dealing with feeling like you're almost running on like you're running in peanut butter a little bit. You're trying real hard, but you're not getting anywhere. So that really does help.
That's how I feel every time I run. So I definitely relate to that. But
especially this time of year.
We've talked a lot about Holloway Park and what a gem it is in Polk County. We've hosted a lot of events there, and it's getting a little bit of I don't know if we call it a facelift, but a lot of changes happening at Holloway Park. Talk about your excitement for next season and what those changes are going to look like for your team.
Yeah, I mean, we're so excited when the city took over, and their partnership with Florida Southern and Central Sports Marketing is really gives us access to that park and allows us to put on some special events. The thing about the state championships for cross country and track in Florida is they're both in either Tallahassee or Jacksonville. It doesn't get more central than Polk County. And so it'd be nice to have, to have this in the center of the state where people can get to and get access to it. The city's already done some major improvements to the park. People can actually now drive in there if it's rained a little bit, which the last couple of years you needed like a all-wheel drive Jeep to get in there. So we're very thankful for the city for helping out with that and improving that. Can't wait to see what it looks like 5 years from now.
Yeah, and talking about down the road, will that help in any way as far as recruiting? Does that, where you all train, where you have your meets, does that help at all, or are there different factors that go into that? Yeah,
I mean, like I said, having access, when I recruit a kid from Fort Lauderdale, it is nice to have a place that has some green, soft surface. That's just not something they have access to there. And then for putting on events, for our particular team, we'll have 3 events this year, 2 home meets, and then the conference meet will be back there again. And just having access to those really improves the profile of the program, and it allows us to generate some money for the program, and so it definitely is an asset in our favor. And I hope there'll be an announcement about Holloway Park, Florida Southern, something that'll be out there, I hope, real soon. Hope that gets announced real soon.
Oh, great.
So, yeah.
We look forward to hearing about that, and we do appreciate you taking the time to be here today. If people want to find out more about the team, about your schedule for the upcoming season, where can they go to find that?
Yeah, the easiest way is look on fscmocs.com or follow us on Instagram, FSC, XC, and Track, I think. That's so not on the TikTok yet, but we'll have one of our kids do something like that, get us on there. But yeah, we'll be out there. Our events are free. They're fun to watch, and they're the sweatiest thing you'll see for sure around. So.
Well, we appreciate it, Matt. Thanks so much. It's always great to see you.
If you enjoyed this interview and want to watch more Sports Central, click the video below. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.